My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content.
You've heard of flips, you've heard of multifamily, you've heard of investing in malls. Well, what about all of them? Well, today's special guest zooming in from Victoriaville, Texas, Brian Ferguson, has experience in all of those different ways of investing in real estate. Started out in flipping, and nowadays he's into much bigger deals. And he and his partners have built up a very significant portfolio in a pretty short period of time. So Brian, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
So Brian, give us a snapshot as of the end of 2025. What does the portfolio consist of?
Plus or minus, if something closes December or January, we'll be right at 1,300 units multifamily. We got about 500,000 square feet of retail shopping centers and professional centers. And we still have a single family division that changes daily. We do a couple hundred transactions a year.
So the single family, is that flipping?
It's a little bit of flipping, wholesale, hotel,
Yeah.
all the other words that have come along with it nowadays in the past 20 years. But yeah, yeah.
Wow. Lots of stuff on the go. So with the, with that, I mean, that's a lot of different plates to kind of keep spinning all at once. How do you manage three very different businesses all under the real estate umbrella?
So we manage it in two. So the single family sits on one side of the company, and then long-term holdings, as we call it, sits on the other. The multifamily and the shopping centers, they are different spaces. So we have a commercial property manager, and then the multifamily is different. But as an asset, we know them both well. We used to be in a few other asset classes. This is actually us honed in to being in less. So yeah.
Now, if I recall correctly, Brian, you really focus on properties that are pretty close to your backyard. Tell us a little bit about the markets that you focus on and why you like to keep it close to home.
So we're out of Victoria, Texas, a couple hours south of Houston, 2 hours from Austin. But this is where we started. I was born and raised here. That's where we started our portfolio. Now we've expanded in some other markets. But, our 20 years of experience is hands-on operations, management, construction. That's where our strong suit is. So we want to be, even if it's third party, if something happens, I want my asset team to be able to get in a truck, vehicle, whatever it is, and be there within 2 to 3 hours. It's just, it works well for us. I get you can invest anywhere, but that's what works well for us.
So you mentioned before that you guys have experience working in multiple different asset classes, and you've kind of pared it down to these three. Why did you pick these three? What else were you doing, and why did you just kind of decide to narrow down?
Everything. And used to, it was like, we're going to expand in Victoria. Instead of expanding out of other asset classes, we'll just keep expanding. So mobile home parks, self-storage, triple net, single tenant, national. I mean, just if it's in Victoria, if it's an asset class, we have.
You wanted to own Victoria is basically what I understood.
Yeah. I mean, we bought out bowling alleys. We owned laundromats. Home showrooms, everything. So we did not want to be in retail anymore, wanted to be away from that. And then we knew we had to decide last year, 2 years ago, right after we bought a self-storage deal, we realized, okay, we have to decide, like, this isn't big enough. So do we scale this? Do we scale here? And we had the most experience in multifamily. And then right behind that was the shopping centers, professional centers. And I have quite a passion, still have the passion for multi, and have a huge passion for the retail centers. I thoroughly enjoy that. So that's where we narrowed. And the single family, we've been doing it for 20 years. We do a good job at it. We have a team that does phenomenal. So
yeah, makes a lot of sense. So now that you've kind of narrowed the focus, are you expanding the geography, or are you still kind of keeping the cards close?
We expanded into the Katy and Sugar Land markets late last year, and we've picked up a few assets there in the professional shopping center space. Multifamily, our goal was to expand this year. Every time we say we're not buying anything else in Victoria, another great deal falls in our lap, and so we buy again. But we're 1,300 units out of, some reports say 10, 15, some say 8 to 10,000. But regardless, we're quite the market share. So we will be expanding into another market we've been focusing all year on finding that market.
Oh, I see. Close to home still, so you can kind of self-manage and everything?
Yeah, we'd love to be. We're already in that kind of Katy, Sugar Land. So there's Fulshire, Rosenberg. Those are great areas. little bit different on the multifamily side than Victoria, but somewhere in that space would be great. But we're looking at a few different ones. We actually contracted a deal in Kingsville, Texas, and the market just wasn't quite big enough for what we really wanted to be. So we opted out of that deal. But it's active somewhere within a couple hours of us.
So remind me, Victoria, I'm not familiar. I haven't visited your beautiful city yet. What's kind of like the population base of the city?
City limits is you're at about that 67,000, in the county, about 95, 98. The MSA gets to about a 120, 130, a lot of small towns that number is important for, especially for the retail centers, can be important for a multifamily as well then.
Yeah. Well, yeah, then you're a very, very big player in that market. That's great.
Hey there, if you're a capital raiser, a syndicator, or a fund manager, and you're looking for a steady flow of incoming accredited investor leads, then go ahead, grab a free copy of my new book, How to Get 20 Accredited Investor Meetings Every Month Without Cold Calling, Networking, or Chasing People. You can get that at 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com. Again, that's the number 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com.
So what are some of the advantages and disadvantages to the path that you have chosen as far as like staying close to home?
We are an expert in our market.
Yeah.
As I'm talking, bigger deals right now. We have a larger deal, it's larger raise, and I'm dealing with some out of town investors, and it's just CoStar report this, CoStar report that. That's a disadvantage because it's not accurate, and I have all the data to prove otherwise because I'm achieving it on 1,000 doors to other places. Mm-hmm. So that's a disadvantage. At the same time, it's an advantage for us because we are an expert in the market. We have the ability to look at something. Where it's been challenging is like when we entered that Sugar Land Katy market, we had to reestablish everything because we're not used to being away from home. We're used to how we do things, and it can be difficult. I'll give you an example. Right now today, I just came from, we're doing a due diligence walk on 288 units right across the street from our corporate office, and we're partnering with a third party group, and we're going to kind of co-manage in a sense. But I had a partner, asset manager, acquisitions manager, all calling me at the same time, like, hey, they're in these units for 2 minutes. This isn't going to work. And so I went over there, we all sat down, and they have a way of doing things and we have a way of doing things. And I'm not saying that's good or bad, but it definitely, it makes things a little difficult as you transition. So that has been, and it'll be even more when we expand in other markets because we have to redeploy a whole new team because we're used to doing it with our team. And if we're not going to do it there, so it makes the expansion a little harder, but it's a slower road, but it's definitely more diligent.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. So at the time we're recording this, it's almost the end of 2025. What do you got on the horizon for the new year?
So we just contracted a 288 unit deal and a professional center. So our year's kind of wrapped. Those may even push into the beginning of 26. So we'll still look at deals. I wouldn't foresee us contracting anything else. And then next year will be similar to this year. I think there's a ton of opportunity. We started in 05, went through the 08, 2009, 11 cycle. I think we're approaching something similar in the multifamily space. We're already seeing it. So I think there's going to be a small window for us to take advantage of, and that's what we'll focus on.
So you've acquired a lot of properties. That means raising a lot of capital. What are some of your insights into raising capital from retail investors, like the accredited investors? And are you guys also dipping your toe into family offices and bigger investors as well?
We are. So we didn't raise a penny until 2022. Everything was homegrown, our own capital over the years, 1031s, all the good stuff. So we started out I actually started backwards with kind of some high net worth guys, kind of a family office, partnering on a few deals. It turned into a capital company. Then we went retail. Now we're going back. What I've learned is it can be easier to buy a $25 million complex than a $2.5 million complex. These, especially if you want to dip your toe. I had a $3 million raise earlier this year. Family offices said it checks all the boxes. We love you. You're local. It's not big enough. So we said, okay, let's go bigger. And we just, it takes the same amount of time to close a $20 million loan that it does a $2 million loan.
Right.
So we're definitely learning that. And you're dealing with two different people. With the retail investors are all looking for something different. And I'll tell you what I've learned in the past 3 years, I've redone a pitch deck on the deal 10 times where my team hates me. And we finally realized we're going to do it our way, what we want to project. And we're going to find people that align with us because we cannot please everyone.
That's a really smart realization, Brian, because yeah, you're absolutely right. There's just no way you can you try to make your deal be a winner for absolutely everybody. Because yeah, that's maddening. That would be absolutely crazy for sure.
Some people want more market data, less market data, more about the sponsor, less about the sponsor, more property, less property. I mean, so it just depends on the day and who you ask.
Yeah, then they cut you a check for 50 grand.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so for folks that aren't familiar with working with family offices and those kind of bigger type lenders, what tips or advice would you have for folks for kind of getting your foot in the door with somebody like that? Let's say somebody's got some experience doing a few syndications with a number of smaller investors. How would you recommend getting your nose into the game with the big guys?
I think connection, the connection is key. Now there's the lists that are being done in ChatGPT and other places, and they're shared. And, you have to find some type of connection. We've focused on that a lot, whether it go to LinkedIn and who knows who, because if you just email these guys, like they get 100 of these a day. I go to New York a lot. I have a partner in New York, but a lot of the capital partners are there too. So like if it's someone I'm talking through email, I make it a point we just went a few months ago and I scheduled, brunch, lunch, dinner every day with someone different, because getting face to face, just trying to separate myself from the other 100 emails they're getting. They're probably getting institutional quality stuff. Not as big as these guys. So, and then also I make it I keep a list of all of them and what they're looking for. And I try not to waste their time. If they're only looking for 1990s or newer, then maybe I send them an 85. If it's 2010 or newer, why would I send them an 82 product? Because I do that a couple of times and they're not going to respond. And I used to just BCC 20 of them and send it out. Now I send very individualized emails. I'm not saying AI doesn't help me, but I make sure I'm very personal in the email and trying to get the point across and how it aligns with their buy box. And I keep that on file. So
when you go someplace like New York and you haven't met the person and you're trying to get booked in those coffee meetings and lunch meetings, any tips for just getting the door open?
Yeah, again, I've done very personalized and, pick up the phone and call. I pick up the phone and call before I text. And that's hard for me because I'm the first one that wants to send a text or an email. And I've had really good team members with tons of experience that we brought on that you pick up the phone, call them, and then maybe follow up. And I try to build that communication and like, hey, I'm in town. I see your office address is here. Can we go grab a cup of coffee? And I think once it's face to face, the response time to my emails is
much better. Smart. Very, very smart. Very cool. Brian, this has been great. I'm sure there's going to be some folks here that are interested in connecting with you, finding out more about what you're up to. What's the best way for folks to get a hold of you?
So I'm on LinkedIn, Brian Ferguson. You can also go to our website, fergmarcapital.com. And I'm always happy to hop on a call and discuss with anyone.
Awesome, Brian. Well, thanks for being on the call. Keep up the good work. Sounds like you guys are doing great things.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Take care.
All right, everybody. Take care, and we will see you on the next one.
Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewsyou.com.